Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, earlier this year, I had a water leak in my home that wrecked the ceiling and actually took quite a while to trace the source of the leak. But that's what we pay insurance for, right? Now, I have a low excess, so nothing to worry about, or so I thought. But a phone call later, and I discovered that the excess was much, much higher for water leaks. Of course, it was in the small print. Now, shortly after I discovered that although we all spend a fortune securing our homes with extra locks, CCTV, smoke alarms, burglar alarms, and a variety of gadgets, thinking that fire or burglars are our biggest threat, the number one cause for insurance claims is actually water leaks. So when looking into this further, it led me to Gabe Halimi, and he's the CEO and co-founder of Flo Technologies. And Flo Technologies is on a mission to reduce water waste in homes and prevent water damage with its revolutionary Flo device. Flo's all-in-one water monitoring and shut-off system actually detects micro leaks and other vulnerabilities anywhere in a home's water supply. In fact, 60% of homeowners who install Flo immediately discover a leak they didn't even know they had. That was more than enough to get my attention. But enough of my tales of water leaks. Let's get Gabe onto the show. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to LA so we can speak with Gabe from Flo Technologies. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name's Gabe Halimi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Flo Technologies. Flo, our first product, is a water monitoring and control device for homes. Essentially, one device proactively monitors the entire water system in the home, can identify a leak as small as a drop of water a minute anywhere in the home, preventing water damage, which is a leading cause of homeowners insurance claims. And we help conserve a lot of water in the process. How's that for a quick intro?
Absolutely perfect. And when I was researching you guys, I quickly discovered that Flo Technologies is actually on a mission to reduce water waste in homes and prevent water damage with this revolutionary Flo device that you just mentioned. And as someone that had a water leak this year and it was a bit of a pain to get to the bottom of, and then there was the insurance excess, which I didn't realise at the time, but it was actually going to be much more because it was a water leak. But I mean, can you tell me more about the device and what makes it unique from any other solutions out there?
Sure. So there's a bunch of different kinds of leak detection devices out there. As you mentioned, leaks are one of the leading cause of homeowners insurance claims every year. Here in the U.S., it's about 25% of all homeowners insurance claims. It's about $9 billion of damage every year that water damage causes out here in the U.S. So our technology is unique in that we not only detect when water is already running, even something as small as a drop of water a minute, but we're really a preventative and proactive solution. We proactively monitor the integrity of the entire plumbing system to help identify vulnerabilities before it turns into a leak. So one of the leading causes of having catastrophic water damage is high pressure in the water system. So very similar to high blood pressure in your body, which is one of the first things that a doctor will want to check when you show up for a visit. If you have high blood pressure, that's a telltale sign that your body's unhealthy. You're aging your system by the blood having to work too hard to get around your veins and arteries, and eventually, God forbid, organs can fail. The same is true for the home water system with respect to water pressure. Yeah. If your water pressure is too high for long periods of time, you're putting undue strain on your pipes, your fixtures, your appliances, and eventually something will burst. So one of the things we do is we proactively monitor for high pressure to identify that as an issue, and then we can help you get it fixed by sending a plumber out or walking you through how to check your pressure regulator, that kind of thing. So we really try to help prevent water damage and leaks in the first place, which makes us pretty unique in the market.
Now, I have interviewed hundreds of startups and different businesses and CEOs on this show, and I'm always fascinated by what was the inspiration. So can you tell me, what was the inspiration behind Flo Technologies and what put you on this journey?
Well, very similar to the problem that you were just identifying we had catastrophic water damage in my parents' home. I was in New York for the weekend. I lived in Los Angeles with my parents at the time. This is going back over 10 years ago. I came home from New York after a few days of being away, walked into the living room, and it literally looked like it was raining in the middle of the living room. Like it took 10 seconds for my eyes to even adjust to what was going on. One toilet on the second floor of our home, the water connector, what connects the water supply line to the toilet, burst off of the supply line. So water was running uncontrolled for 3 days straight, and it flooded the entire home. It costed us, costed our insurance company about $300,000. I lived in a hotel for almost 8 weeks. So it really made a massive impact on our family. And part of the Flo story is that it's actually my dad who's the inventor. He's my co-founder, and he's been in the plumbing space inventing plumbing products for over 25 years. He was a plumbing manufacturer. So when he experienced this problem in the home, along with some other experiences that he was having at the time, he decided that this was a problem worth fixing. And so he studied the problem for years. He really set his mind to it, and it was about 3.5 years ago when he gave me a demo of an early version of the Flo device in our garage, and taking one look at it and seeing how he was able to detect these small leaks, seeing this big issue with water conservation, I knew that this was something that really needed to be brought in the world. So in classic startup ways, I quit my job. My dad and I started working together in the garage and building the foundation for what is today Flo.
What a fantastic story. And it's something that I hear again and again and again. People that go through a traumatic experience, or they experience a problem or a pain point, and they just decide to do something about it. It's almost like the universe gives you a nudge in the right direction, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And I think, my dad and I were really blessed that we had very complementary skill sets as well. Here he was, a mechanical engineer who just had so much experience in plumbing and, how all the engineering that goes behind the fluid mechanics, mechanical engineering, what have you. And I had spent years as an attorney working with startups, and then I worked on some startups myself. And so we just bridged together, our two experiences that was both rooted in this really catastrophic incident that we had in our own homes. We're shocked to find how many homeowners suffer from the same problem every year. I mean, in the US, it's over 2% of homes every year, which is, millions and millions of people that are suffering with this problem. And yet today we have, alarm systems to keep us safe from burglars. We have sprinkler systems to keep us safe from fire. Now we even have smart toaster ovens and thermostats, and we have all these different devices in our home. And yet something as fundamental as water, something as necessary as water, and yet when uncontrolled, as catastrophic as it can possibly be, was left completely untouched. Plumbing hasn't changed for hundreds of years. So when we had this incident happen to us, we knew that we had to do something about the problem.
It's so true what you say there. And I'm sure many, many people listening will have installed CCTV, burglar alarms, smoke alarms, all to protect their home and thinking they've done everything they possibly can. But it's water leaks that are actually the number one insurance claim and the biggest threat. That's the way it is over here after doing a bit of research. But is it exactly the same in the US?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you took all of the homeowners insurance claims for fire and theft and combine them and multiplied that by 2, that still wouldn't be the same as how many water damage claims there are every year. So in terms of preventable homeowners insurance claims, it is the number one cause in the United States. There's certain things that you can't prevent, like you can't prevent the kind of severe weather that we have, hurricanes coming in and that kind of thing. But in terms of the preventable stuff, fire, theft, water peril, injury, etc., this is by far the number one claim.
So when researching you guys, I also read that 60% of homeowners who installed Flo into their homes immediately discovered a leak that they didn't even know they had. I mean, can you expand on that too?
Yeah, that's right. As soon as you install, so there are 3 parts of the system. There's the hardware. One device installs on the main water supply line to the home. So Once that device is on the water supply line, we are monitoring for water flow, water pressure, and water to temperature, all three of the fluid mechanical elements that make up a water supply line. While we're doing that, we're learning the habits of people in the home. And so we're seeing, what is normal for that homeowner, so we can very quickly identify if something abnormal happens, water running for too long of a period of time, too high of a flow rate, too much water consumption, given what the normal usage patterns are in that home. But one of the most fundamental things, a real cornerstone of the technology, is what we do with our pressure sensor. So if you have like a leak as small as a drop of water a minute, that's nearly impossible to detect just by water flow. The flow sensors out there are not sensitive enough that they can actually read a drop of water a minute. I mean, it's such a minuscule amount of water. But the way that we detect those leaks are actually, again, through our pressure sensor. It's a fundamental principle. Perhaps this is a bit too technical for your listeners, but there's a fluid mechanics principle called pressure decay, and it works very similar to like a balloon that's full of air. If you have a balloon that's full of air and it's sealed, the air in that balloon will stay constant. The air pressure will not change. If you poke even a tiny hole in that balloon, you will see the air pressure start to drop over time. That's the best indicator as to whether or not there is a leak in that balloon. We apply that same principle to the water supply line every single day. And we do this right after installation as well. We will shut off the water to the home from our device. So this happens automatically. And we'll monitor the pressure for a few seconds while no water is being used. If we see that the pressure stays constant, very much like it did in that sealed balloon, we know definitively that there are no leaks in that water system. If we see the water pressure dropping over the next few minutes, we know definitively that there is a leak in the system. And in about 60% of the homes that we install in, we find that there is some leak somewhere that the homeowner didn't know about. Many times it could be a leaky toilet, like a flapper in the toilet has gone bad, or the refilling valve that is inside the toilet. Could be a faucet, could be a shower. About 80% of the time, it's a fixture, but many times it's a slab underneath the leak, underneath the slab of the home, behind the wall that a homeowner never knew existed, and that we can help then figure out where that leak is coming from. In the United States, about 13% of water that goes into a home is lost due to leaks that the homeowner doesn't even know about. I mean, it's a massive amount of water that's just being wasted for no reason. So with technologies like ours, we run these what we call health checks on the water system every day to know definitively whether or not there is a leak.
Wow, what an amazing stat that is. I mean, so if there's anybody listening and you've awoken their curiosity, I mean, what equipment is needed and how does it detect a leak that is currently invisible to homeowners?
Yeah, so that one device that installs on the main water supply line is communicating via the Wi-Fi to the cloud. We have what's called an IoT product. It's an Internet of Things product. And then the homeowner, through their smartphone app, we have a Flo Smart Home app, and you can see how you're using your water every day and see in real time when water's running and what flow rate and what have you. So as we're learning what is normal for that home, we will alert the homeowner via the app when they have a leak or when water usage looks abnormal. And then we give the homeowner troubleshooting tips to help identify where that leak is coming from. For example, as I said before, about 80% of the time when there is a leak, many times it's just a toilet, it's some faucet or some other kind of a fixture that is leaking. So what we do is we can help the homeowner isolate where the issue is coming from. So if you think it's that pesky toilet in the guest bathroom that no one ever uses, that perhaps the handle just got stuck on it or something, you can walk over to the supply line that's connected to that toilet. You can turn it off, and then you can rerun that health test. If now you run the health test and you pass, you know that you just isolated the problem to that toilet. And from there, you can either call our support line and we can help you fix whatever the underlying problem is with the toilet and walk you through it, or we can help you send out a plumber to do that proactive maintenance. One of the additional features and products that we just added a couple of months ago was that we have a new program called Flo Protect, where above and beyond the protection that we're already providing to the home, we'll provide alarm-style services to the homeowner. So we'll provide proactive maintenance, reaching out to you if we find that there's a leak. We'll give you enhanced data analytics so you can see exactly where your water is going. So on the note of water conservation, if you're looking to reduce your water footprint, knowing how much water goes to your toilet versus your landscaping versus your shower can help you have the tools to empower better water usage habits. But in addition to those features, we'll offer a guarantee that homeowners will not suffer from catastrophic water damage. So in the event that, Neil, for example, if you had a Flo device and you were to suffer catastrophic water damage again in the future, which would mean that Flo didn't do its job, we would reimburse you for the excess up to $2,500, your out-of-pocket deductible, in the event that you have catastrophic water damage. So that's how confident we are in our product that we will literally put our money where our mouth is, that with Flo, you will not suffer from catastrophic water damage.
So do you have any stats of how Flo has collectively saved homeowners, or maybe share a use case or even direct feedback what you've recently received?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we know that between all the homes that we've installed on since earlier this year, we've saved over 1.5 million gallons of water. I'm not sure how that translates to liters, but we've helped save about 1.5 million gallons of water. And gosh, there are so many different use cases. There are some people that have, within the first few weeks of installing the device, some people just have an incident where a gardener will have left a hose running. They were filling up their swimming pool for the first time in the season and forgot that they left their pool on. We also have some homeowners that have really suffered from a potentially very catastrophic event where we help shut off the water immediately. For example, there's an insurance company out in Florida. The head of innovation for this company, I don't know if he'll like me sharing his name, so I won't, but he installed a test device on a second home that he had up in the mountains in Colorado. And he just wanted to test our device. And he just wanted to test the device, installed it on the second home, and within a week, he got an alert from the device. And it was saying that, he had a catastrophic event and we shut off the water. And he's like, oh, this device was definitely, Gabe's device wasn't working properly. I'll go check it out the next time I'm in Colorado. Well, he ends up going back to Colorado a week later and saw that it was actually because of a freezing temperature. When water freezes inside of a pipe, the water can expand, and then eventually the water supply line could burst. Well, we notified him when the water was reaching a freezing temperature because we have a temperature sensor in line, so it could tell you when the water is reaching freezing. He didn't do anything about it. And then when the water eventually froze, the pressure caused the pipe to expand. Eventually it burst and water started running uncontrollably. We automatically shut off the water. So once he went back to the house and actually saw that the pipe did burst, he was obviously very grateful because that would have been a very catastrophic event. He would have gone through a similar situation that my father and I had. So we have all kinds of different stories. We also just have people that love the convenience of being able to shut off their water on their wife if they're taking too long of a shower. That's not something I recommend, by the way. I would avoid that, but it is a nice feature when a push comes to shove and you really have to get out of the house. You always have the convenience of just pushing a button from your phone and shutting off the water.
They are much braver men than I am, I tell you.
But you and I both, Brad. I have learned the hard way, my friend.
So do you think we're entering a new era in smart home and technology, and what role do you see Flo playing in that future? I mean, also, I think you guys seem to have a perfect product here to partner with insurance companies. Is that something you've explored?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a number of insurance companies that we've already partnered with. Some of our largest investors in our company are insurance companies. So this is a massive problem for insurance. It's a massive problem for homeowners. So we're actively working very close with the insurance industry to bring this product to the market. I think where we're situated within the smart home landscape and within IoT, I think there's a pretty incredible opportunity for us to help people. There's a lot of kind of wind behind our sails. In the United States and many parts of the country, especially here in California, people are suffering from severe drought conditions. And so we're in a great opportunity to help people not only avoid water damage, but conserve water. We can help insurance companies, prevent what is one of the largest sources of their claims. And just in the larger smart home context, there's so many different smart home devices now, so many different devices in IoT, but it was actually at CES in January that the Financial Times wrote a great article, and not just because they mentioned us in the article, but they had a section that they wrote about the Internet of Useful Things. So it's not just the Internet of Things, all of these different kinds of gadgets that connect to the cloud and that you can control, but really what kinds of devices are really useful for the home. And I think we're really sitting in that position where, we can help the entire home benefit, not just from the avoiding of water peril, but we make the entire home smarter. So we're doing a number of integrations now with different smart home devices, or for example, in the very near future, if you don't flush your water toilet for 2 days, well, that's a pretty good indicator that you're not home. Most people, I would say, flush the toilet at least on a daily basis. But let's say you didn't, you didn't flush the toilet, and now you also forgot to set your alarm. Your Flo device can help maybe set your alarm for you automatically, or just by learning what are the water habits of people in the home, we can help identify how many people are home or how many people are not home, which can really just help make the entire home, the entire system safer. So we're really in this to prevent loss one drip at a time. That's the mission of our organization. And I think loss goes far beyond just water loss and financial loss. It's helping to avoid emotional hardship. And part of that is just making the home a safer place to be.
Absolutely. Well, it's a huge eye-opener. But before I do let you go, can I just ask that you remind the listeners of where they can find you online, and also contact a member of your team if they have any questions?
Yeah, sure. You can find us at www.meetflo.com. That's MEETFLO.com. You can always email me. My email is G, the letter G, at meetflo.com, and would be happy to chat and follow up with any of your listeners. It's been a great pleasure, Neil.
Well, like I said a few moments ago, I've experienced water damage, and it's just a horrible nightmare. It really is, in your own home. So the fact that Flowtech protects from that is one thing. That is a fantastic thing, obviously. But like you said, there is an increasing water shortage all across the world, and over there in LA, you're having the drought problems there. So actually preventing water waste is a fantastic thing too. And I think the Internet of Useful Things, that is something that we need to explore more. And it's great to see you leading the way there. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on today.
I really appreciate you having me, Neil. Thank you so much.
A device that monitors pressure to detect those tiniest micro leaks in water systems, controlled by an iOS or Android app on your smartphone, and also continually learns about a homeowner's daily behaviour and activity if you flushed the toilet in the last 2 days, for example, and will alert you if it detects any abnormality. And can even automatically shut off the water if something goes wrong. Ticks all the right boxes for me. And imagine how much money insurance companies could save if their customers had one of these installed. Certainly food for thought. But what do you think? Do you have an experience with Flo Technologies or any of the other similar companies out there? And if you work in the insurance industry, I'd love to hear your opinion on this too. And as I say at the end of every interview, it's not about me, it's not about the guest, it's about you listening, because I know there is so much experience and expertise out there. So email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, or tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. So a big thank you to each and every one of you for listening. Keep those questions coming in, pictures of where you listen to the show so I can see the world through your eyes, and indeed anything you can think of. But that's it for today's show. So until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.